What is going on, guys? We are back with another video today, and a lot of people have been asking me about what do I think of Madden 21, should they buy it, this and that, so I decided to actually do a review. And as far as me, when I was looking for reviews, a lot of the reviews were a little long for me, and you know, they're going to be very in-depth, and I'm going to try to be as in-depth as I can, but I also want to keep this around 10 minutes so you can get in, get your decision, get out. Basically, some reviews are like that, in fairness. But as far as some of these modes, some are going to be in-depth, some are going to be, you know, just quick because there's not really much to talk about. And one of those examples is Ultimate Team. As far as Ultimate Team, nothing's really changed. Unique cards early at launch. You know, guys like Jeromepkr Finley, Doomerville, Andre Johnson, a bunch of different cool cards at launch, which gives you, if you're an Ultimate Team fan, a lot of hope for the variety that you'll see in Ultimate Team. The rewards, I mean, it seems pretty much the same. It's really just Ultimate Team. If you played Ultimate Team for the last 3 or 4 years, you get the gist. I can't really give it a rating because I don't play Ultimate Team. I think Weekend League is kind of a scam. They pretty much force you to play a ton of games if you want to keep up. If you're not trying to spend real life money, it's a lot of stress. I wouldn't recommend it, but if you like Ultimate Team, it's good. It's good, I suppose. And let's move on to the next mode, Superstar KO. It's the same mode. It's the same mode as last year. It's worse, though. There's less variety because it's early in the year. There's no legends or anything like that. It's a lot of the names from the league now, and you usually end up getting the kind of bad players, the common, the rarities. They seem like they come up bad more often than before. The online stability is kind of bad. Anytime I play a 3v3, you'll pretty much, just like last year, have somebody is having issues come up at least once or twice every 2 to 3 plays. The reward system, there really isn't one. You'll get one card every maybe 4 or 5 days, which obviously after a few weeks will fall far, far behind Ultimate Team. So there's no real reason to play. Of course, there's a little bit more this year because I think that will play into your avatar more. So if you play the Yard, I guess is a reward system, but there's no real reason to play KO, honestly, at all this year. I mean, maybe I'll do some videos on it, but KO, it's the same but worse. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. If last year was a 5 out of 10, this year's a 4 out of 10. Face of the franchise, there's really not much to say. There will be things I say, but it's just bad. It's simply bad. The game mode is way too easy. It's on worse than Rookie. It's like it's on Rookie, but their sliders are also down 10 each. The storyline is rather boring. You know, you replace a guy that has a heart condition. He comes back. You guys work together well. Then he tries to steal your job again at quarterback by following you to the same college as 5-star recruits. It makes no sense at all. Why would you want to create competition if you're so grateful for the guy potentially saving your life and also saving your high school into college career? Makes no sense at all. I was kind of, you know, you guys weren't really feeling the series, so I kind of looked ahead a little bit, and I seen that college football makes you switch positions if you want to stay a second year. I don't get that at all. If you want to be a QB, but you want to stay for more college football, because that is something a lot of people like, because NCAA hasn't been a thing for a while, they should let you just stay as QB. I don't understand that at all. Also, the Combine, from what I've seen, is literally a cinematic. So basically, whatever your favorite YouTuber or whatever got on their score, unless you're blind with one thumb, you're going to get the exact same 40 time, whatever it may be, just like they will. It's a button-pressing cinematic. It's just ridiculous. The game mode itself is literally the story, the game mode. If you watch it on YouTube, that's basically the same thing that's going to happen to you. There was also a bug. I don't know if it's been fixed. Every single person was being drafted by the Bears. It's a terrible mode. There's no reason to play it at all. I would rather watch a quick cut of the cinematics if you really cared for whatever reason. And then the icing on top of the cake is it's a lock-on style mode. You would get the, you know, impression that it's a story mode about you, but you control the whole team. I don't understand that at all. It's a terrible experience. It's a 0 out of 10. Should honestly be a negative 10 out of a 10. It's just not good. Now we move on to franchise, Hold the Face. Nothing new at all, as we expected. You know, they kind of admitted that with their patch note style update on the game. Hashtag fix Madden franchise. definitely got some movement, and we will hopefully get some updates in the future of this game, and then a massive updates for Madden 22. The ball is in their court. They've got to improve vastly. As far as what is in franchise this year, besides the nothing new, there's still no offensive lineman dev-ups, which I said like before, it is kind of tough on trying to make that exist. What do? I'd say go for pancake sacks, sacks allowed, and then offensive performance. Combine those together to maybe decide who deserves star, who deserves superstar. But as of right now, there's no dev-ups for offensive linemen, which is kind of dumb because, you know, they revamped their whole pass rush system, and it's actually really OP, especially if you have a really good player. I don't know how you keep up with those guys. It's almost impossible. You know, obviously, those you can actually D-line, but you could dev up, so it's just not fair at all back, you know, on both sides of the ball. The sim stats are really bad. Sacks, it's so inconsistent. I almost don't feel like there's any sort of like pattern to it at all. It's just random as hell, and they're usually low. Some of the offensive stats are exactly the same. You know, rushing QBs, I believe, still don't really truly, like, I don't think Lamar Jackson will ever get to even close to 1,000 yards rushing. Same relocation teams, but from what I've heard, there's actually less. I don't know if they took out the teams from the quote-unquote high school for face of the franchise, but I've seen that relocation is an absolute joke, as it always has been. The overall game mode itself, it feels, I don't know if I'm adjusting to it, my eyes are or not, but it feels like the game mode itself is just darker. Like, the whole screen is just too dark. Like, someone needs to put the gamma up. I don't know. There's also this hideous blue background tone for scenarios that just looks like something out of an old Windows operating system. It's so weird. This is something I would expect them to fix, so hopefully they will. But the menus are a bit laggy. They're super slow. Trading's really bad. The AIs don't make any sense. They'll either give you draft picks for basically nothing, or they won't trade you a player for players that are very much so better than the one you're trying to get. The only real positives I can think of are this pregame cinematics are actually pretty damn solid. And then as far as the drafts go, the rookie class does sort of reflect the new age athletic players where you have fast linebackers, fast wide receivers, you know, fast this and fast that. So it reflects that pretty nicely. I think the rookies are a bit better this year. Maybe a little too OP, though. But yeah, I would give franchise a 5 out of 10. And the main reason for it is because the gameplay changes allow it for it to be a much tougher, more balanced experience. The AI isn't just a piece of cake to fight anymore. It's actually kind of tough. We'll get into that a little bit later, perhaps. As far as the yard goes, this is going to be a quick one. The microtransactions are fair, which is a absolute shock. There's a lot of launch content for players, even if they're solo, to grind out. There's 3 little stadiums, and there's a ton of solos in, you know, matchups in between that. It's a fun, true multiplayer in Madden. You know, before it kind of seemed like it was the quarterback doing all the work. You were just there, maybe a user on defense a little bit, right? And then, of course, there's supposedly going to be seasonal updates for more content throughout the year, and there already is a ton in the yard out the gates. A lot of customization options. Like I said, the microtransactions are fair. The only real downside I feel to the game mode is that sometimes the animations are a little too over the top, but as far as what the game's trying to do and way it looks, I think it's definitely solid. Really good step in the right direction for having good game modes with variety. I gave it an 8 out of 10. That's very, very high for anything to do with EA. An 8 out of 10 is amazing for EA in any sort of facet. As far as gameplay, though, gonna be honest, I do not like defensive usering. Linebacker usering is just super slow. It just seems like there's a purposeful delay. The zone coverages still have guys backpedaling away from their assignments, specifically in the flat. Flats just seem completely broken. Or you'll have a guy that's standing still when there's a player maybe slanting or dragging past them. They'll just be stuck in the mud. Or you'll have a guy just still standing there when, you know, there's no one in his zone at all. I will say it's a little bit better this year, but it still exists, and that's unfortunate. As far as offense goes, which I think I'm kind of glad about, technically, there's no real juking. The juking doesn't seem like it exists. It's really just trying to outrun slash just out agility your defender. But I suppose the game does feel a lot more smoothly when you're cutting or doing this or that. So smoother gameplay, but defense-wise, a bit slow. Smooth, but not smooth in a good way. It feels like you're being like kind of anchored down. I don't like defensive user at all. The only thing I like about defensively is the pass rush system, which seems very in-depth and pretty effective. But really, defense, I can't say it's good. Offense, I kind of like it. So kind of a 6 out of 10 job where the offense is good. Defense, I absolutely hate. And then the real big thing is that the offense doesn't feel as guaranteed as with other Madden. So the throws aren't always guaranteed. Throwing in the run doesn't seem to work very well. The abilities in the game still kind of need some work. I don't know why Escape Artist exists. Trust doesn't make any sense why you would have that. The hit sticking that causes fumbles, those type of abilities. Fumbles in Madden are just bad. Like, that's just too RNG. I can see a missed throw because of pressure or whatnot, but a fumble, it's too much RNG. Unless you land a perfect hit stick, even then, I just don't know if you should fumble the ball. Regardless, though, overall, I'm going to give the game a 5.5 out of 10. The main reason for the 5.5 is because of all the ignoring of the beta feedback where there's bugs that still exist for Maddens upon Maddens. This is mainly a franchise review because Face of the Franchise, like we said, absolutely garbage. Just does not belong in Madden anymore. KO, at its core, it's still the same, but it's worse, less variety, and like I said, more buggy. Franchise, if you like previous franchises, you'll like this one, but you're not going to like it because it's pretty much the exact same experience. But with the gameplay, it does improve the overall experience for me personally, because I felt like the previous Maddens were too easy, too predictable, and now it actually seems like a challenge. It actually seems more balanced. The AIs make better decisions. I like it overall because of that, but as far as adding new things, it's not in a good spot. The yard definitely boosting the score up quite a bit because it's the only real positive I have outside of maybe some of the offensive gameplay experiences I've had. Overall, 5.5. If the gameplay does change the game completely, it's definitely not one of those years where you can say it's the exact same game in that aspect. As far as rating it, it's tough because they did try to change a lot, and that's what people wanted, change. But change isn't always good. Outside of the yard, they really didn't add anything new, which is what's dragging this this rating down quite a bit. And the fact that all the same bugs really does make you kind of think, is there anything new in the game outside of the yard? Because if the same bugs exist, that means they pretty much just copy and pasted it. Anything not including microtransactions. As far as if you should buy the game or not, if you like MUT, yes, you should probably buy the game. If you like Ultimate Team, you play that a lot. Because it also means you'll probably end up going to the yard. If you like what you've seen from the yard and you like the way I talked about it, I'd probably get it, but mainly if you have friends to play with. I think, like I said, there's enough content as solo player, but if you're playing this game purely for the yard, you need to have friends to play it with for it to last that long. And as far as if you don't like Ultimate Team and yard, it's kind of like, yeah, I guess I'll try it maybe. I probably wouldn't get the game. I would just ignore franchise for Madden 21, or maybe even just instead of going back to Madden 20, just wait for Madden 22. As far as franchise, I don't think the game's good enough. I don't think there's enough improvements. I don't know. I just don't like franchise that much at all in this game. It's improved for me as a content creator, but as far as a consumer, not enough was done. And ultimately, this is just an Ultimate Team / yard video game at its core. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. If you thought I did well, maybe leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Twitter, Jeromepkr. And yeah, this was kind of a fun thing to do. Hopefully it gets good feedback, because maybe we can do this from now on in Madden. If there was anything I missed, please let me know in the comment section below, because of course we can maybe forward something like this to somebody that works at EA, or maybe someone at EA will see it, and we can maybe pin what some of your guys' reviews are for the game. Regardless, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys come back for next video. But until next video, see ya!